the day has come. Luka Doncic has signed an extension with oh, Jesus Christ. That was intentional. That was not intentional. Okay, I promise you that. The Luka Doncic has signed an extension with the Los Angeles Lakers. Congratulations, Luka Doncic. No congratulations for the Lakers. They don't deserve it. They didn't do anything. They get stuff handed to them on a silver platter. Rob Pelinka's terrible at his job, and I will stand 10 toes down on this, okay? But congratulations to Luka. Obviously, there was some sort of like, oh, I don't know, Luka might not sign the extension. I had said if I were Bill Duffy, if I were representing Luka, I'd be signing this extension this year. Obviously, this is who Luka is. Luka was never going to leave the Mavericks under his own accord. He said that himself. Right? Nothing ever pointed to that. But I feel like he values loyalty. He values being respected at an organization. It felt like the Mavericks were respecting him until, Nico Harrison was hired, and then he didn't like him. But the Lakers do appear to be pulling out all the stops for Luka. So, yeah, it makes sense that Luka would sign this extension. Why I say I wouldn't do it is because of the trade. So we'll talk about this number. 3 years, $165 million, around $55 million annually for Luka. That's an incredible value. Right. The reason why that feels low is because the trade, the stupid ass CBA rules, the trade, the Mavericks were the only team that could give him that 5-year supermax, and that number went down dramatically. He lost like $100 million total in the trade, in the extension that he can sign. So by signing this extension, 3 years, $165 million, typically you see 5 years. If you're wondering why you don't see 5 years, it's 3 years with a player option. He opts out that final third year. He'll be at 10 years in the NBA. That opens him up to the super mega max that the Lakers can then offer him. That will be, I believe I saw around 5 years, $400 million, $80 million a year for Luka Doncic. Well-deserved, obviously worth every single penny, but just crazy we're reaching that number, right? We're reaching those type of numbers for salaries is just absolutely nuts. So $55 million is really good value for the Lakers. It's the max he could have signed. I've seen people be like, oh, he took a discount. He loves LA. He signed it literally says in the tweet, the maximum fucking contract extension, right? But you got to hold Lakers fans' hands and walk them through the process because they don't understand anything, right? So you got to hold their hand and walk them through the process. So yeah, there you go. So he sets himself up for a mega payday in a few years' time. And it's just, a sigh of relief, I think, for Lakers fans, for Luka probably just to get this long-term deal knocked out, even though, he could sign 1 year maxes like LeBron did every single year if he wanted to. He's that level of player. But again, the reason why I would have not done it is you could have made the same amount of money next year. And I don't know. I just don't love this Lakers roster at all. And it just applies pressure. I think pressure can be a good thing sometimes. I mean, we've seen LeBron do it his entire career. I think pressure can be a good thing sometimes for these organizations. So congratulations to Luka. He tweeted it out himself. Also gave $5 million. You guys can't see it. It's right here. Gave $5 million to help 77 young athletes around the world chase their dreams. Thank you, Luka. Great job. I'm waiting. I mean, I'm a young athlete, right? I don't know. Maybe I'll be there. I don't know. I don't know who the 77 is. We haven't gotten emails or anything like that telling me that I'm part of it. So we'll see. Maybe I am. I just can't get over how bizarre it looks with the Lakers colors. I mean, we've seen them play games. We've seen them in the playoffs. It just still looks insane to me. It just does not look right. Something just is so off-putting about it. But anyways, he looks good. He looks happy. Obviously, in great shape. That's been a big talk of town. I've avoided it. I've avoided talking about it just because I've always avoided talking about it. I've never partook in the Luka Weight Watcher thing, mainly because I think it's embarrassing for him. And even when I thought Luka looked good, even when I thought Luka was putting in work in the offseason, because he's slimmed down in the offseason a bunch. We've seen him do it a ton of times. Even when he's done it, I feel like it's embarrassing, and it's actually a disservice to him to treat a professional athlete like it's a fucking Make-A-Wish overweight kid. Like, I'm just being honest with you. He's on this press tour right now with Jordan, and he went on Good Morning America, and they're asking him if he's on Ozempic. Like, that's fucking embarrassing. I get why Luka's team is pushing for him to do this press tour, but that shit's embarrassing. He's a professional athlete getting paid tens of millions of fucking dollars. What do you mean? Are you on Ozempic or is it natural? Oh, no, I just work out every day because I'm a professional athlete. Like, what are we even doing? I think it's embarrassing. Like, there's viral tweets when his fiance posts pictures of her cooking rice and chicken. Like, it's embarrassing, and I'm sure Luka hates it. So please quit. It's always been embarrassing, okay? But either way, he looks great. I've seen, like, the press tour and stuff. The Men's Health article, first and foremost, a horrible, horrible article. Men's Health, you dropped the ball there. Well, not really. The story went mega viral. It did its job, right? But I'm just saying the article itself, terrible. There's AI slop in there. The author put that Luka had a 42-inch vertical at the combine. Two things. One, use your eyeballs. You think Luka can jump 42 inches off the ground? Seriously? What could possibly make you think that? But also, too, Luka was not at the draft combine. So AI slop in the article, and you can just tell whoever wrote the article is not basketball fans. So I missed opportunity for a really, really, really great, interesting article that just turned into, just kind of some PR slop, basically. But either way, he's getting pushed. They're doing this big tour. And I've seen some debate as to whether or not what this tour really is. I've seen people be like, it's a breakup. Hey, look how in shape I am. I'm going on PR now to showcase how in shape I am. People have called it a revenge tour. I think that's part of it for sure, going on some revenge. But I really think what it is Jordan seeing this opportunity, the Jordan brand seeing this opportunity to push Luka as much as possible, because there is an opening for face of the league. And Luka obviously already is one of the faces of the league. He was one of the faces of the league with the Mavs. But, with the trade being one of the biggest, most talked about trades in the history of sports, right? That's still a super relevant topic to this day. 6 months to the day later. 6 months ago today, by the way. Half a year. Holy shit. Wow. Feels like it was years ago. Half a year. Damn. Anyways, with all of those narratives at your back, you're also now in Laker land. There's this sort of organic passing of the torch moment with LeBron as your teammate, maybe going into the last year of his career. There's really this opportunity to become the face of the league, right? Not just one of the faces, the face of the league. And I had long thought that I don't know if a European could do it. And that might sound fucked up. And if you're European, you're probably hearing that. You're like, what? What are you like? It's in America. In America, you tend to go to the Americans. That's just the way that it is, right? But I don't know. I do think Luka's got a shot. And I think Jordan sees that, and that's why they're pushing this so hard. That's why he's everywhere. That's why he's on Good Morning America, even though they ask horrible, nonsensical, dumbass questions like, are you on Ozempic or not? Motherfucker, he's a professional athlete. Like, how embarrassing is that? Are you on Ozempic? No. I get paid tens of millions of dollars to work out. So no. Like, Jesus Christ. Are you on Ozempic? Are any athletes on Ozempic, you think? You lose so much muscle on Ozempic. I don't know. Obviously, the thing with Luka being in shape, and he's gotten in shape. I don't know. Maybe this is some of the best shape he's been in. But he's gotten in shape over the offseason. We've seen it a bunch. It's once the season gets started and, he misses a week or two here or there with an ankle injury or something, can the weight stay off? That was always the frustration point. And that remains to be seen, right? That remains to be seen. But he does look good. Obviously, Slovenia plays. Eurobasket starts in a couple of weeks. That's right around the corner. I'm excited to see Luka play in that. I'm excited for that in general. If you guys have never watched Eurobasket, I highly recommend it. Highly, highly recommend it. It is one of the best basketball events you can find. But let's get into this contract talk. Oh, shit. I didn't mean to close that. The interesting thing about this, obviously, with Luka at only $55 million, which is crazy because, you got guys who we're reaching the mid-60s, 70s in average annual salary. So this is really good for the Lakers. Again, they get shit handed to them on a silver platter. They didn't do anything. Rob Pelinka cooked. Rob Pelinka didn't do a single fucking thing, okay? Your dog could do this job. Your toddler could do this job. I promise you that. Rob Pelinka is no different than a toddler. I promise you that, okay? He's horrible at his job. Absolutely appallingly bad. And things just get handed to him. My eyes twitching thinking about it. It really pisses me off, actually. But this opens up the possibility, even with Luka at $55 million and even with Reeves potentially getting a big payday next summer, the Lakers will have a max cap space in 2027, a max salary slot. So they could go after a big-time free agent in 2027. Now, that scares me, and it reminds me a lot of some early Luka Mavs days, where it's like, yeah, we're gonna hold off on doing these big moves. We're gonna just fix our team along the margins in the offseason any way we can because we're trying to save up for the next time there's a big star. Not necessarily the Luka. That was more late Dirk. But there were still some times when the Mavs were like, oh, fuck it, we'll just go get like James Johnson and Josh Richardson, not really do much else to improve our team, and we'll just kind of wait and hope that something falls into our lap at some point. The big difference is it is the Lakers. And again, things actually do fall into that. Things don't fall into the Mavs' lap. I say that. From Dirk to Luka to Cooper Flag, things do fall into the Mavs' lap. But like free agents don't just fall into the Mavs' lap. They do fall into the Lakers' lap. And the 2027 free agency class is pretty loaded. Now, it's kind of a waste to look at this right now because a lot of these guys will sign extensions and be off of the market entirely. But, Steph, 39 years old, whatever. I don't see that as a possibility, really. Giannis? Now that's interesting. Jokic? Now, I saw some Lakers fans, and this was getting a lot of traction. Some Lakers fans were like, oh my God, Luka took a discount, so Jokic got... Luka didn't take a fucking discount. He signed the max. Lakers fans, God, I want to shame them so bad, but you just can't. You can't shame them. I want to shame Lakers fans so badly that post this delusional nonsense. But what am I going to say? When Lakers fans are like, yeah, they're going to go out and get Giannis. And it's just like, yeah, maybe. I don't know. They're going to go out and get Jokic. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. I don't know. It's possible, right? But Giannis is the interesting one. I don't think Jokic would leave. Now, what's that? Like Giannis, Jokic, both kind of similar in the sense that they've been very loyal. Giannis, there's been more smoke about him leaving than Jokic, obviously. But Giannis has stayed. Giannis had every opportunity, and I don't think anyone would have blamed him for requesting out this summer. He didn't do it. He's been very vocal about wanting to stay in Milwaukee, wanting to be loyal, wanting to play his whole career in one place. The difference between Giannis and Jokic, though, is the pathway for the Bucks to be like real perennial contenders over the final, 6 or 7 years of Giannis's career is very, very muddy versus the Nuggets, right? Who are contenders right this second. It's very, very muddy for the Bucks. So it is possible that Giannis leaves as a free agent, right? 2 years time. Now, what is interesting is I also think the Heat have a max cap space this offseason, the 2027 offseason we're talking about. And that is interesting to me. You know, we've had teams with cap space, but it's like the Wizards have $50 million in cap space. It's like, okay, who wants to go play there? The Nets have $80 million. All right, who's going to go sign with the Nets? And this, I know that KD and Kyrie went, but I'm saying like this past year, who's going to sign with Brooklyn? You know, but the Lakers and the Heat, no, that's different. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see how much pressure is applied on some teams. Because if I'm the Bucks and I see the Lakers with a max salary spot, I see the Heat with a max salary spot, and I'm now staring down the barrel of a Giannis unrestricted free agency, that's a little scary to me, right? That's a little concerning. So I typically hate this method of team building, especially in today's NBA when free agency is all but dead. I absolutely hate it. But for the Lakers, it could work. Like it really could. It could pan out. And mind you, it doesn't have to necessarily be a free agent, like a big-time free agent. You know, they could sign 3 really solid guys. Or, just looking down the list, there's a lot of really good, solid free agents in this class. Cooper Flagg, right? Cooper Flagg with a team option. Who knows? Maybe Nico declines that and Cooper Flagg signs an unrestricted free agency. But, sorry, I just derailed myself. You could also trade and absorb some money. Like, that's also on the table. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Now... Of course, you had to have the jokesters, the classic jokesters come and get their jokes off at the Mavs' expense. This is my least favorite type of tweet. This is my least favorite type of tweet currently. It is the rage bait for the Mavs fans. And hey, it worked. It got me upset. It got me talking about it, okay? Our guy Sam Quinn here for CBS Sports. Anthony Davis will cost around $25 million more than Luka Doncic over the next 3 seasons. Nico Harrison, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give him a round of applause. Congratulations, Sam Quinn. Hilarious stuff. Nico Harrison, guys. This is my least favorite type of tweet right now. Nico Harrison. Nico Harrison sucks. Mavericks fans, you're so bad. Nico Harrison. It's just so lazy and boring, right? Now, what this tweet fails to mention here, because I guess it is factual. I guess it is technically correct that Anthony Davis will make $25 million more over the next 3 years than Luka Doncic. As I mentioned at the top, the trade basically prevented Luka from signing the Supermax with the Lakers, right? He would have signed that with the Mavericks had he been here. And that would have been in the 70s, or it would have been $350 million over 5 years, right? So you'd have been in the $70 million range per year, in which case, no. Because what this tweet's trying to do is trying to rage bait Mavs fans, as I said. You see this type of tweet every single fucking day because it's just easy. It's easy engagement. It's easy interactions because you have self-loathing Mavs fans up and down the timeline. But this tweet's trying to be like, oh my God, the Mavs didn't want to pay Luka, but they're going to pay Anthony Davis. It's like, if Luka were still on the Mavs, he'd be making $70 million as opposed to the $55 million he's making now. Should they have signed him to that? Yes. I want to be very clear. Yes. In my opinion, they should have just given him the max contract. Like, he should not have been traded and he should have been given the Supermax because he's a top 3 player of the sport. I want to make myself very clear so you guys don't kill me. Okay. But this tweet's so disingenuous, right? And it just pisses me off, man. These tweets make me so upset. And they work. They work. But it's just like, dude, it's so lazy. It's so fucking lazy. And it's easy. It's easy to rage bait Mavs fans right now. I get that. But my God, it's lazy. You don't even have to be correct. You know? You could just be disingenuous and make shit up. And it'll work. So anyways. Jeez, man. This is part of the reason why I stay off of Twitter after the trade, or haven't been on Twitter as much. I've muted quite a bit of words. I've muted quite a bit of accounts, if I'm being honest with you. Because it's just, there's no nuance in these conversations at all. Like, you cannot have a nuanced discussion about the Luka trade without one side or the other just shitting down your throat. It's impossible, right? Like, if I were to say, you know, when we talk about, hey, Luka looks in great shape. He really does. He looks in fantastic shape, right? When I would say, yeah, it's frustrating to me a little bit that Luka struggled to stay in shape with the Mavericks. That did frustrate me a tiny bit, right? I don't think both parties are entirely blameless in the Luka trade saga. I have to be honest with you up front, from stuff that I've seen reported and stuff that I've heard not reported. I don't think both sides are blameless. Do I think the Mavericks share the vast majority of the blame? Absolutely. I have to say this again and disclaim this. Would I have traded Luka Doncic? Never in a million fucking years. Okay? Just need to be very clear. But are both sides blameless? No, not really. Was I like maybe harsh at times with Luka? Yes. Why? Because I truthfully think Luka could be a top 5 player in the history of the game. I don't just say that. I'm not just like, yeah, I think he could, and deep down I don't mean it. I actually do mean it. And so it is frustrating to me at times when I felt like Luka wasn't applying himself to the max. Okay? Whether that's taking his conditioning and his body seriously, which, you know, and I've seen this too. This has become a thing since the Men's Health article. There was like viral tweets going around that the Mavericks never communicated with Luka that they wanted him to be in shape. What? That's just factually incorrect. That's 100% incorrect. And people are like, yeah, wow, that's fun. It's like, you guys actually think that? Really? You guys think that an NBA team did not communicate with their superstar how they wanted him to be in better shape? Really, you guys think that? Come on, seriously. Okay. Would I have traded him? No. I have to disclaim that every time. Did they fuck him over? Yes, they did. 100%. They did 100%. But anyways, I just, you can't have nuanced conversations about this stuff because it's just, people just get so angry and upset at you and they see red immediately. And it's just like, yeah, I do wish Luka took, you know, better care of his body over the time he was with the Mavericks. 100%. I believe that. I said it then, I'll say it now. Did I love him being on the team? Absolutely. Did I think he was a top 3 player in the sport? Absolutely. Did I think he should have won MVP a couple years ago? Absolutely. Would I have traded him? Never in a million years. Am I upset he's gone? Absolutely. Would I have rather him be like kind of out of shape and never really reached his absolute highest of highs that I thought he could reach with the Mavericks versus getting traded to the Lakers and then reach that? Absolutely. I'd rather him not reach that highest potential with the Mavericks and just have those frustrations versus him not being here. So I have to claim all of that. But again, it's why, you know, I don't talk about the Luka trade as much as like some other content creators because I don't know what else is there to say at this point, and then you just piss people off all the time. So yeah, let's close this off talking about this Lakers roster a little bit. Again, circling back to the top run, I kind of said if I were representing Luka, I would have just waited a year, just put some pressure on the front office. I don't think this is a particularly great team. And I do know the Lakers finished 3rd in the West last year. And that was with, you know, horrible, god-awful Jackson Hayes as their starting center. I get all of that. They improved dramatically at the center position. I do think I see them as a 4, 5, 6 seed. And you might hear that and be like, what the hell? How do you think they got worse? I just think other teams in the West got better around them. I think the Thunder are better than this Lakers team, 1,000%. I think the Nuggets are better. I think the Rockets are better. I think the Clippers on paper are probably a little bit better than this Lakers team. I put the Lakers in the same tier as I do the Mavs, honest to God. I really do. I think they're in that tier. Now, of course, you know, I could be wrong about them. Other teams get injured, stuff like that. They could be a top 3 seed again, 100%. But this roster, comparing it again to like some early Luke with the Mavs rosters, reminds me a lot of that. It's just there's just something missing. A lot of one-dimensional guys. There's some depth pieces that I look at and maybe I can talk myself into, but when push comes to shove, how confident am I in some of these bench pieces? How confident am I in Jared Vanderbilt in a playoff setting? Not at all. He's fucking horrible on offense. He's one of the worst offensive players in the game. How confident am I, Gabe Vincent, in like dude, I need 20 minutes. Not confident really at all. Maxi Kleber, I've walked that road. Okay. Jake LaRavia, even. People are really excited about Jake LaRavia. Jake LaRavia could be good for sure. How confident am I 100% in him in a 16-game setting? Not that confident. Delta Connect, same thing. Jackson Hayes, same thing, right? But the roster is good, though. And if you get a healthy Luka, really locked in Luka, he's going to win an MVP at some point, right? At least one. I'm so confident about that. This could be the year with the narratives behind him and just the fact that, this is a team that's built to his strengths a little bit. I think he's going to put up insane numbers because he always does. And if they win enough games, the only thing is I think he should have won MVP a couple years ago. The knock against him at the time was that his team didn't win enough games. Will the Lakers win enough games if the Thunder are in the 60s again and Shea has an incredible season? If the Nuggets are in the 50s, mid 50s with Jokic, will the Lakers win enough games to propel Luka's argument? That'll be interesting to see. But, I just don't know. I don't love the roster, really. It's so one-dimensional to me at times. Like, it's just so many one-dimensional players. And, of course, Ayton, you have your three main guys offensively, LeBron, Luka, and Reeves. And LeBron's 41 years old, going to turn 42. Or 40 years old, going to turn 41. I don't know how they shift how they sort age here. But it's going to happen at some point, I mean, it has to. The nature tells us. Physics tells us that at some point, LeBron is going to wear down a tiny bit. I thought he was a top 7 player in the league last year, top 10 player in the league last year. So if he just wears down a tiny bit, even if he's around a top 15 or so player in the league, that'll still be really good for them. But I think it'll be noticeable, right? Because you have LeBron, you have Luka, you have Reeves. Those are your three main guys offensively, all three incredibly talented offensive players. And then outside of that, I think you get a lot of inconsistency. I think you get a lot of one-dimensional players. And then I think you have Ayton is the next guy up, right? And I think Ayton can have an incredible year. I'm not an Ayton guy whatsoever. I think he's an incredibly frustrating player. There's a possibility for him to come in. Fantastic situation for him. He's going to be the starting center on a team that wants to win, playing next to a guy, Luka Doncic, who makes centers look incredible, who always gets the most out of his centers. So, yes, there's a pathway for Ayton to come in, lock in, realize, hey, I can get a big fucking payday this summer, right? I have completely squandered my entire career, but I can somehow salvage it and get another big contract in the summer if I just lock in a little bit here. So yeah, it is possible you get a really good Ayton season. I just don't believe in him really as a player. I think his numbers lie to you. And if you use your eyeballs, you'll see just how inconsistent and frustrating of a player he is. And, I see people say that he's perfect next to Luka, and I do think he'll be great next to Luka. But, he's not the hard rim runner that Luka has played with in the past and really appreciated in the past. And I think that will actually require some adjustment period. I think ultimately they'll end up being really good partners, but Ayton's more of a, pocket pass, getting the ball in the middle of the floor, and let him operate like that versus a Daniel Gafford, Derek Lively type. And I think those big time vertical floor spacers like Lively and Gafford, even Dwight Powell, right? It's a little bit more valuable next to Luka, because Luka can just operate looking to score with the lob being a secondary thing. With Ayton in the middle of the floor, I think it could clog stuff up sometimes. I think it'll require some adjustment, but I think ultimately they'll figure it out. What's really interesting with Ayton is the mismatch possibilities, right? Because Luka's never really played with a big that can punish mismatches like that. So that will be interesting to see how that plays out. That's a big strength there. And I even think Ayton's rebounding numbers lie to you. I don't think he's a good contested rebounder. So, and of course, you have the questionable defensive stuff. So it's all there. His talent's there. So if he locks in for a year, yeah, it could be great. But I'm not banking on that necessarily. Marcus Smart, barely played over the last couple of years. And when we have seen him play in Memphis and Washington, he's a good player. He still impacts the game, I think. But he does not look anywhere near what he looked a few years ago in Boston. He that's gone, right? He's teetering on washed territory. But again, the thing with both of those guys I just mentioned, Smart and Ayton, if I was paying Ayton $35 million, a lot of those problems would really concern me. I'm paying him $8 million. Right? If I were paying Marcus Smart $25 million or whatever he was making, and those problems would really concern me, he's making $5 million. So not really that big of a concern for me. So it'll be interesting. Again, congratulations to Luka Doncic signing that extension. Congratulations to the Lakers, obviously. We'll see how it all plays out. I'm really interested to see Luka this upcoming season. Is this the MVP year? Is this it? I'm really interested to see the Lakers, just how they look as a team. I'm really excited for Eurobasket in a couple of weeks. Luka's always must-watch television in Eurobasket. If you're a Lakers fan watching this and you haven't been pissed off enough at me shitting on the Lakers to exit out the video just yet, and you haven't seen Eurobasket yet, you have to tune in. You absolutely have to tune in to watch Luka play with Team Sylvania. So anyways, yeah.